It began on a quiet Tuesday night in Halewick, a remote coastal town tucked at the edge of northern Maine, where the ocean is always loud and the people rarely are. Halewick wasn't known for crime. It wasn't known for anything, really. A fishing dock, a lighthouse, a diner that closed too early, and a gas station that opened too late. But that changed on November 3rd. Because that night, at exactly 2:14 a.m., a 28-year-old marine researcher named Lena Marlowe walked into the frame of a security camera. And 4 to 7 seconds later, she disappeared. Not walked out of frame. Not ducked behind a tree. Not ran off into the dark. She vanished, mid-stride, on camera. And when investigators replayed the footage, what they saw lurking in the tree line behind her would haunt them for years. Before she became the center of the most unsettling missing person case in Maine's history, Lena Marlowe was known for 3 things: her quiet intelligence, her obsession with local ocean patterns, and her habit of asking questions nobody wanted answered. Co-workers at the Halewick Marine Institute described her as brilliant, but distracted, like her mind was always 2 steps ahead. Lena's closest friend, Carly Reyes, said Lena had recently become paranoid. Not delusional, not dramatic, just watchful. She kept checking over her shoulder, Carly later told investigators. Like she expected someone to be standing there. 3 weeks before she vanished, Lena confessed to Carly that she was working on something big. Something connected to a series of disappearances along the cliffs over the last decade. "I think they're related," she whispered. "All of them. And somebody knows." Carly had brushed it off. Halewick had its share of rumors, ghost stories, cliff tragedies, fisherman tales. But Lena, she wasn't the type to chase shadows. Until she started receiving the letters. No return address. No name. Typed. Scented. 1 sentence each. The first one read, "Stop looking." The second, "Not your problem." The third, "You're being watched." Lena told no one. Not her parents, not her co-workers, not the police. But she kept them all. Investigators later found them in a steel lockbox under her bed. Beside the letters was a list titled, "Halewick Missing Persons, Possible Pattern." 7 names, 7 dates, 7 times, all between 1:50 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. November 3rd was bitterly cold. Wind tore through the town like something alive. And yet, at 1:57 a.m., a neighbor's camera captured Lena stepping out of her apartment wearing only a thin coat, a backpack, and carrying what appeared to be a folder of documents. She didn't hurry. She didn't hesitate. She simply walked, as though following an appointment she couldn't avoid. At 2:10 a.m., a second camera showed her turning toward Ashwood Path, a dead-end trail leading to the cliffs. A place high schoolers used to dare each other to spend the night but were too afraid to try. Lena glanced behind her 3 times. Not nervously, but like she was checking whether someone had arrived yet. At 2 hours 14 minutes and 10 seconds, she walked under a flickering street lamp, one of the only sources of light on the entire trail. She paused, looked directly into the camera, and whispered something. It took investigators 3 weeks to isolate the audio, to clean the static, to amplify the faint vibration of her voice. She said one word, "Please." Whether she was asking for help or begging for mercy, no one knew. At 2 hours 14 minutes and 57 seconds, Lena took 1 step forward. The camera glitched, but not like a normal glitch. Not a freeze, not a blur, a 0.63-second distortion. A number so specific and unusual that technicians claimed it shouldn't happen on that type of camera at all. When the footage returned, Lena was gone. A backpack strap still visible in the final frame. Her shadow still present on the pavement. But Lena herself? Gone without a trace. Seconds later, the street lamp went dark. At first, investigators thought the case was simply a missing person. A young woman walking alone at night. Possibly a fall near the cliffs. Possibly foul play. But then a rookie detective named Ezra Dalton noticed something the others missed. A shape. Tall. Motionless. In the trees behind Lena. Barely visible. Almost blended into the darkness. but unmistakably there. A figure, standing completely still, watching her, as if it had been waiting. And then Detective Dalton made the discovery that changed everything. In the footage from 3 previous disappearances, a similar shape appeared in the background. Always in the trees, always still, always watching. When investigators searched Lena's apartment, it became clear she'd been preparing for something, or someone. Her living room walls were covered in maps, printed photographs, handwritten notes, timestamps, dates, and references to the earlier disappearances. 3 words appeared over and over. It watches. It follows. Not human. The photographs were worse. In almost every one, taken from street cameras, reflections in windows, or satellite captures, stood a tall, dark silhouette partially hidden behind objects. In the corner of a gas station camera frame, in the reflection of a bus window, standing behind a utility pole at the far end of a street. Never close, never clear, always watching. Each was labeled with one word in Lena's sharp handwriting: Watcher. In her notes, investigators found weather patterns, tide charts, electromagnetic readings, timestamps of local power surges, interviews from residents who claimed to have seen something in the woods. The most chilling part, Lena had circled all 7 disappearance dates and drawn a perfect line through them, creating a pattern investigators had never noticed. A pattern that pointed to November 3rd, the night she vanished. Next to that date she had written, "It will come for me next." 3 days after Lena's disappearance, hikers found her backpack wedged between rocks near the entrance to Ashwood Path. Inside were her belongings, her wallet, her ID, the folder of documents, a small audio recorder, and, tucked into the back zipper, a single sheet of paper. In thick black ink, Lena had written, "If I disappear, it's not a choice." The audio recorder contained only one file, 4 to 6 seconds long. Faint wind, footsteps, then a sound, a low, vibrating hum, like something electrical, inhuman, growing louder, and then Lena's voice, "I see you," followed by a final chilling whisper, "Stay away from me." The recorder cut off. Detective Ezra Dalton became obsessed with the case. He requested access to every camera in Halewick, residential, commercial, traffic, private security, anything the department could legally obtain. And he found something, not just in Lena's footage, not just in the earlier disappearances, but in everyday footage too. A shape, a figure, sometimes blurry, sometimes clearer, always tall, always still, always in peripheral frames. The strangest part? The figure only appeared between 1:45 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. Dalton compiled the clips into a single timeline. When the team watched it, half the room left in silence. One officer resigned the same week. Another claimed he couldn't sleep without seeing that thing standing in his doorway. 2 weeks after Lena vanished, the Halewick PD tried to recreate the glitch that occurred during her disappearance. They set up the same model camera in the exact location, matched the weather, matched the temperature, everything. But at 2:14 a.m., exactly 2 weeks after Lena's disappearance, all 17 cameras the department installed malfunctioned at the same moment. Not a glitch, not a freeze. Every feed turned black for exactly 0.63 seconds, the same time as the original video. When the feeds came back online, one of the cameras captured something standing at the far end of the trail. Tall, shadowed, facing the camera. But when patrol units arrived less than 3 minutes later, nothing was there. No footprints, no tracks, no signs of anything ever standing there. 1 month after the disappearance, the department received an anonymous package addressed to Detective Dalton. Inside, a USB drive, a single photograph, and a note. The photograph showed Lena, alive, her face lit only by a flashlight, eyes wide, expression terrified. Behind her stood the figure, closer than it had ever appeared in any other image. The note read, "You were warned." The return address? A location miles off the coast. In the middle of the ocean. The official report states, Lena Marlowe is presumed missing. Foul play suspected. But locals in Halewick tell a different story. They say the cliffs have always been watched. That something walks the tree line between 2 and 3 a.m., something not human. Something that follows patterns and takes those who notice it. Some believe Lena was taken because she got too close to the truth. Others think she may still be alive, somewhere no one can reach her. What investigators do know is this. The camera that captured Lena's final moments continues to glitch. Always at the same time. Always for the same duration. 0.63 seconds. As if something is still passing by. And every year on November 3 Road, the street lamp beneath that trail flickers. Just once. At exactly 2:14 a.m.